It was great to have you on the programme just now. So what more do we know about the situation in regards to Spanish politics? Why do we have this rather messy situation at the moment, so it seems?
Well, of course, after the election, it appeared that the political situation and forming a new government was going to be very difficult. Most people thought that we were heading for new elections at the end of the year. But surprisingly, perhaps today, just before the voting started, there was a deal announced between the Catalan nationalists and the ruling Socialist Party of Prime Minister Sanchez. It's not very clear what the deal entails, but it would involve the role of regional languages to sort of try to promote them, amongst others. And also, apparently, the deal is limited to the election of the board of the parliament, of the presidency of the Spanish parliament. And if Pedro Sanchez hopes to convince the Catalan nationalists to become prime minister, apparently he will have to give more concessions, according to Puigdemont, that's the leader of the Catalan nationalists.
Would you say that all of this is a reflection of the electorate right now in Spain?
Well, yeah. I mean, the country is split politically. It's out of the question to have a grand coalition like the ones that we've, for example, seen in Northern Europe, in Germany. The right and the left are very much political rivals, and their supporters apparently would not tolerate such a grand coalition. And as your correspondent has explained, there is no majority for either bloc, except if you take the nationalists and the representatives of the Catalans, of the Basques, the Galicians, and if you take into account these regional sensitivities, then only then can you form a majority. And for the right bloc, because they have been so, let's say, close to the concerns of these regional politicians or regionalist politicians, for them it's much harder to gain power with their help than it is for Pedro Sanchez and the socialists.
And what about Europe as a whole? Would you say that this reflects what's going on in other political situations in other countries in Europe right now?
Well, it cannot be denied that in I think most European countries we have seen political deadlock. I think in France things are relatively difficult in terms of the parliament, and that's France, which is traditionally quite stable. Germany now has a coalition government, but it has had to resort to a grand coalition in the past. In the Netherlands, which was traditionally very stable, we have seen months and months of attempts to form coalition governments. Of course, my own country, Belgium, is, I guess, the world record holder when it comes to that, was sort of ahead of the game when it comes to this. So I'm not sure why it is something that we see. Maybe it is because the big political forces of the center have lost popularity over the last few decades. I guess that's definitely one explanation. But it's the new world. People tend to shop more. Voters tend to change their mind more than they used to. I think that's also undeniable. And the outcome is that you will need to find more compromises in order to have governments.
All right, the new world, as you say, Pieter Cleppe, thank you so very much indeed. The editor-in-chief at Brussels Report EU, joining us live from Brussels today.